Hi everyone, let's dive into a question that's likely crossed your mind at some point. What really happens when you stop texting her? What's going on in her head when the messages suddenly stop? Imagine this scenario. Jake has been texting Emma, a woman he's genuinely interested in. In the beginning, everything was flowing smoothly. Texts were frequent, the conversations were fun, and there was undeniable chemistry. But over time, something changed. Emma started to pull back. Her responses grew shorter, she took longer to reply, and the initial excitement seemed to fade. Sound familiar? Now Jake is stuck in a dilemma. Should he keep texting her and risk coming off as clingy, or should he stop and see what happens? It's a dilemma many of us have faced, and it can leave you feeling confused and unsure of the next move. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into what's really going through her mind when you stop texting. You'll discover why stepping back can shift the dynamic in your favor, and how this one move might actually change the way she perceives you. Stick with me, because as we break it down, you'll get a clearer understanding of how attraction and communication play a huge role in relationships. By the end of this video, you'll have a new perspective on how to handle this situation with confidence and clarity. Point 1. The impact of attention on attraction. Let's start with a simple yet powerful truth. Attention is a basic human need. For many women, especially those who are used to receiving regular attention from others, it becomes an ingrained part of their social experience. It's not about being self-absorbed, rather, it's a way of navigating social dynamics and validating their place within them. When you're texting her consistently, you become part of her attention circle, a group of people who are offering her time, focus, and energy. If she's an attractive woman, chances are she's accustomed to multiple people vying for her attention. While she may appreciate the thoughtful messages you send, they may not stand out as much as you'd hope. Her response time may not always reflect the level of interest you have for her. Now, here's where things start to shift. When you suddenly stop texting her, you disrupt the flow. For a woman who's used to constant attention, this change can be unexpectedly powerful. It's like a favorite song suddenly stopping mid-chorus. She's left wondering what happened. Did he lose interest? Is he talking to someone else? This disruption doesn't just trigger curiosity, it can also spark feelings of frustration or confusion. Think of it like a daily ritual of yours. Imagine you visit the same cafe every morning and the barista knows your order by heart. It's comforting, right? But then one day, they don't greet you the same way and they forget your usual drink. That small change feels unsettling. That's the kind of feeling she experiences when your attention is suddenly absent. This disruption can lead to a range of emotions. Some women may feel curious. Why isn't he texting anymore? What happened? Others might experience irritation or even a slight sense of insecurity. Did I take him for granted? Was he more important to me than I realized? The key takeaway here is this. By pulling back, you create space for her to evaluate what your presence or absence means to her. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing how attention shapes the way people form connections and view one another. So next time you're tempted to double text or obsess over her delayed replies, remember, sometimes less is more. Your silence can speak volumes, and often it carries more weight than 100 texts ever could. Point 2. The power of stepping back. Why should you stop texting her in the first place? It's a question that often triggers self-doubt, fear of rejection, and the hope that just one more message could change everything. But here's the reality. If you've already expressed your feelings, whether through direct words or consistent actions, and she hasn't reciprocated, continuing to text her is like trying to hold water with your hands. No matter how hard you try, it slips through your fingers. Let's break this down. When you keep texting someone who isn't as invested as you are, you're essentially giving away all the control. Your energy becomes one-sided. You're the one chasing, while she remains neutral or pulls away. This dynamic creates an imbalance that doesn't just weaken your position, it signals neediness, which can unintentionally make her less interested. The more you pursue her, the more it feels like you're trying to fill a void that she's not actively interested in filling. Imagine trying to catch a butterfly. The harder you chase it, the further it flies away. But if you stop, stand still, and let it come to you, there's a higher chance it will land gently on your shoulder. The same applies here. By stepping back, you allow space for her to reflect on your absence and potentially recalibrate her feelings toward you. But here's the twist. Stopping communication isn't just for her to notice, it's just as much for you. This break is an opportunity for self-reflection. Rather than continuing to invest in someone who isn't meeting you halfway, you can pause and ask yourself, why am I chasing someone who isn't as invested? Does this dynamic serve my emotional needs, or am I settling for less than I deserve? When you stop texting, you reclaim your power. It's a silent but powerful statement. I value myself enough to walk away from something unbalanced. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about freeing yourself from a cycle that leaves you feeling drained and unappreciated. Stopping communication also offers clarity. Without constant messages, you'll see the situation for what it truly is. Does she reach out, showing that she misses you? Or does she remain distant, confirming that her interest might never match yours? Either way, this clarity provides valuable insights into whether or not your feelings align. Lastly, stopping your texts allows you to redirect your energy where it matters most, back to you. Instead of investing in someone who isn't giving you the same effort, you can focus on self-care, pursue new passions, or even explore new connections with people who truly appreciate and value your time. Ultimately, stopping the communication resets the dynamic, not just for her to notice your absence, but for you to rediscover your worth. It's a bold, empowering step that communicates, I am worthy of mutual effort and respect, and I won't settle for anything less. Point 3. The attention-seeking mindset. Let's explore the mindset of a woman who thrives on attention. For some women, particularly those accustomed to being the center of attention, validation from others becomes a source of comfort. They're used to having a constant stream of admirers vying for their time, energy, and affection. Even when they're not necessarily seeking a relationship, the chase and admiration can be a major source of satisfaction. For these women, attention acts like a steady stream of validation, similar to receiving applause after a performance. Whether or not they're interested in pursuing something more with you, your attention reassures them. Every text you send is like a round of applause, confirming their value. But what happens when that attention suddenly stops? It's like the applause being cut off in the middle of a show. Initially, she may feel puzzled, wondering why you've stopped texting. Did she say something wrong? Did she do something to upset you? She might even question, doesn't he like me anymore? This sudden absence of attention creates a sense of uncertainty and confusion, and that's often the beginning of curiosity. If she was at all interested in you, even on a small level, your silence can spark something deeper. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine a woman who regularly receives likes and comments on her social media posts. The constant validation feels reassuring, even though it may be fleeting. But what happens when she posts something and no one reacts? The silence can be deafening. She begins to wonder, was my post not good enough? Similarly, when you stop texting a woman who's used to attention, it's like she's posted something and gotten no likes. She starts questioning both herself and you. This is where things get interesting. The attention you once freely gave her becomes a measure of her own worth. Without it, she may start wondering if she's losing her appeal or if you found someone else who's more deserving of your time. This uncertainty may be uncomfortable for her, but it can also fuel her desire for validation, potentially reigniting her attraction to you. It's not that she needs constant praise, but for women who thrive on attention, even a slight shift can make her reassess her feelings. Your absence forces her to confront her own insecurities and hunger for recognition. When this happens, it often sparks a renewed curiosity about you, especially if she wasn't already fully invested. The attention she once took for granted suddenly becomes something she feels she needs to work for, and that shift can be the catalyst for her re-engagement. Point 4. Respecting boundaries. When she doesn't want attention. While some women thrive on attention, it's crucial to understand that not all women are the same. In fact, many women, regardless of how beautiful they are, simply don't enjoy unnecessary attention. These women value their independence, personal space and the freedom to choose who they allow into their lives. If she's made it clear that she's not interested, whether through ghosting, friend-zoning, or outright rejection, continuing to text her can quickly shift from endearing to irritating. Imagine this scenario. You're being constantly sold something you've already told the salesperson you don't want. It's not just annoying, it's downright frustrating. The more the salesperson pushes, the more uncomfortable you feel, and you start to wish they would just stop. Then, when they finally back off, there's a sense of relief. For some women, that's exactly how it feels when you stop texting after they've communicated their disinterest. When a woman isn't interested, a constant stream of texts can feel like pressure. It serves as a reminder that someone is trying to claim her time and energy, even though she's already made it clear that she doesn't want to invest in a relationship. By stepping back and giving her space, you're allowing her to move forward without the weight of unwanted attention. Here's where it gets interesting. When you step away and give her the space she needs, she may begin to respect you for recognizing her boundaries. It's a sign of maturity and emotional intelligence when you don't push against her wishes. In fact, by walking away gracefully, you show that you understand and respect her need for space. This can leave a positive impression that may even change the way she views you later on. The key takeaway here is that knowing when to walk away is not just about respecting her boundaries, it's also about respecting yourself. Walking away doesn't mean giving up, it signifies emotional maturity. You're telling her that you value your time and energy too much to settle for someone who isn't fully invested. In the long run, this approach helps preserve your self-worth, showing that you know your own value. And let's be honest, strength, respect, and self-confidence are qualities that are undeniably attractive. By stepping back, you open the door for a potential future connection built on mutual respect and understanding. Point 5. Escaping the fantasy trap. Let's focus on you for a moment. While stepping back might sound like a simple solution, it can actually be much harder than it seems. When you're genuinely invested in someone, it's easy to get lost in the idea of what could be. You start imagining the perfect relationship, romantic dates, deep conversations into the night, and a future you can picture in your mind. Your imagination creates this vivid picture of a life that doesn't yet exist, but feels so real. The issue here is that the more you immerse yourself in these fantasies, the more attached you become, not just to her as a person, but to the idea of her. You might project your dreams, hopes, and desires onto someone without truly seeing them for who they are in the present. Instead, you're holding onto a version of them that aligns more with your hopes than with reality. And here's the trap. The deeper you get into this fantasy, the harder it becomes to let go when reality doesn't align with your vision. You may find yourself trying to force this idealized relationship to happen, even when the signs show that things aren't working. Instead of seeing her for who she really is, you're focused on who you want her to be. This creates an emotional disconnect from reality. So, how do you break free from this fantasy trap? Start by grounding yourself in the present. Shift your focus from what could be to what actually is. Ask yourself the tough questions. Is she as invested in this as I am? Is she making an effort, or am I the only one putting in energy? If she isn't matching your investment, it's time to shift your energy elsewhere. Redirect your attention towards things that nurture your personal growth, your hobbies, passions, and well-being. Focus on fulfilling your own needs rather than relying on someone else to do it for you. By letting go of the fantasy and focusing on the reality of the relationship, you'll begin to see things with more clarity. You'll stop ignoring red flags, stop dismissing your feelings, and stop putting your happiness in someone else's hands. Most importantly, you'll stop clinging to an idealized version of someone who isn't showing up in ways that align with your needs and values. Point 6. Balancing emotion and logic in dating. Let's talk about one of the most crucial principles in dating, balancing emotion and logic. When you're deeply invested in someone, it's easy to get swept away by your feelings. But here's the golden rule. Don't let your emotions override your logic. When you're emotionally invested, it's tempting to go into overdrive mode, pursuing her with an intensity that can come off as overwhelming or even needy. And as you've probably realized, neediness is one of the biggest turnoffs in any relationship. It's not just unattractive, but it also creates an imbalance where you're putting in all the emotional work and she might feel the need to pull away to reclaim her space. Instead of overwhelming her with unchecked emotions, the key is to match her level of investment. Relationships are a two-way street, and the energy you put in should be reflected in the energy she's putting out. If she's texting you a couple of times a day, sending a barrage of 10 messages in a row can feel like too much. It might give the impression that you're desperate or overly reliant on her for emotional validation. Instead, pace yourself. If she's showing moderate interest, mirror that with enthusiasm. Just don't go overboard. Let's use an analogy here. Think of dating like a tennis match. In tennis, there's a rhythm to the game. The ball gets served over the net and you send it back. If one player keeps serving ball after ball without receiving a return shot, what happens? It's not really a match anymore. It's just a workout. The exchange becomes one-sided and loses its energy. Dating works the same way. If you're always the one initiating conversations and sending messages while she's not reciprocating with equal effort, it starts to feel like a one-sided game. The emotional rally becomes unbalanced. But when both parties are equally invested and share the effort, the connection feels natural, comfortable, and enjoyable. This balance is what creates a healthy dynamic where both people feel emotionally engaged. By pacing yourself and matching her level of interest, you help create a relationship where both individuals contribute their energy without overwhelming each other. It's all about maintaining that balance. Success in relationships doesn't come from endlessly giving without receiving. It's about building a connection based on mutual respect, understanding, and equal emotional investment. This approach doesn't mean you can't show affection or express your feelings. It simply means being mindful of the energy you're putting in and making sure she's meeting you halfway. By keeping the emotional intensity in check and ensuring you're not over-investing when she isn't matching your effort, you'll create a more sustainable and fulfilling connection. Point 7. The long-term strategy for relationships. What happens if you're already in a relationship? The principles we've discussed so far are even more critical when you're in a long-term commitment. It's easy to assume that once you're in a relationship, everything will simply fall into place. However, even in established relationships, it's common for partners to start taking each other for granted. The initial spark and excitement can fade if both people stop making an effort to nurture the connection. Long-term relationships require consistent care and attention to stay healthy. Romance doesn't always need to be grand gestures or extravagant displays of affection. You don't have to plan surprise dates every week or shower each other with gifts constantly. What truly matters is the everyday effort to keep the relationship vibrant. This involves continuing to date each other, communicating openly, and expressing affection in meaningful ways. The small acts, like sending a text to say, "I miss you," offering spontaneous hugs, or taking the time to genuinely listen to one another, are what maintain the strength of the bond. Think of it like taking care of a plant. You don't just buy a plant and expect it to thrive without attention. You need to water it, give it sunlight, and check for any signs of trouble. If you neglect it, it starts to wither. Relationships are no different. If you stop nurturing the emotional connection, it can begin to wither as well. The relationship might feel like it's running on autopilot, or worse, it may start to break down. It's crucial to continue dating each other, even after being together for a while. Set aside time for activities that bring you both joy, try new experiences, and find ways to bond that reinforce your connection. Communication is essential. Always talk about your thoughts, feelings, and future goals, ensuring that you're both aligned and understood. Don't take for granted that your partner knows how much you care. Show it, express it, and communicate in ways that resonate with them. And don't forget to keep the affection alive, whether through physical touch, emotional support, or verbal affirmations. It's important to consistently express love and appreciation. While the excitement may not always be as intense as in the beginning, the aim of a long-term relationship is to foster a deeper, more sustainable bond. The effort you invest in maintaining that connection will make the relationship more rewarding as time goes on. It's about ensuring that both partners feel valued, understood, and emotionally supported. So, remember, relationships aren't just about riding the wave of excitement in the early days. They're about building a foundation that can stand the test of time. Keep putting in the effort, keep communication strong, and continue to express affection. If you do this, you'll both experience the long-term rewards of a fulfilling, lasting partnership. Point 8. Embracing the journey of growth together. In any relationship, one of the most important aspects to remember is that growth, both individual and as a couple, is essential. Over time, people change, evolve, and go through different life experiences. How you grow, adapt, and support each other's personal development will significantly impact the longevity and quality of the relationship. It's natural for both partners to go through phases of personal change, whether it's pursuing new goals, picking up new hobbies, or even re-evaluating personal values. The key to a successful, lasting relationship is to approach these changes with openness, patience, and support. Instead of fearing the inevitable changes that come with time, embrace them. Encourage each other to grow and become better versions of yourselves, both individually and as a couple. Think of your relationship like a partnership in a business venture. At first, everything might be about getting started, learning the ropes, and building something from the ground up. But as time passes, you'll need to assess your goals, reassess your strategies, and sometimes pivot to ensure both of you are moving in a direction that feels fulfilling. A successful business thrives on innovation and adaptation, and so does a relationship. Here's where it gets interesting. Couples that grow together not only learn how to adapt to each other's evolving needs, but also become stronger as a result of these shared experiences. Whether it's facing challenges together, celebrating achievements, or simply learning more about each other, growing together creates a deeper connection and reinforces your bond. The trick is to support each other's personal journeys while still maintaining the connection between the two of you. Celebrate your partner's achievements, be there for them when they face difficulties, and always encourage their growth, even if it means stepping out of your comfort zone. If both of you approach growth as a team, the relationship will naturally strengthen. Part 9. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've already taken a significant step toward understanding not only the dynamics of attraction and what women may be thinking, but also how to prioritize and value yourself throughout the process. This journey isn't just about cracking the code of dating. It's about building your self-awareness, recognizing your worth, and understanding the importance of investing in relationships that honor your time, energy, and emotional well-being. The key takeaway here is that dating is a two-way street. It's about mutual effort and investment. Both people should contribute equally to nurture and grow the connection. If someone isn't meeting you halfway, don't waste time waiting for a change that may never come. Instead, shift your focus toward your own personal development and goals, and trust that the right person, someone who values you as much as you value them, will eventually cross your path. Think of your dating life as a road trip. If you're driving in the wrong direction, you're just wasting fuel and energy. But when you align with the right path, one that reflects your values and where both partners are equally invested, the journey becomes much more fulfilling. The right person will join you on that journey toward mutual happiness and fulfillment. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever stopped texting someone, and how did that affect the dynamic? Did it bring clarity or shift things in unexpected ways? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and insights. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more helpful advice and insights like this. Thanks for watching, and as you continue on your dating journey, always remember, never settle for relationships that drain you. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, value your time, and respect your energy. You deserve nothing less. Take care and keep prioritizing your well-being as you move forward.